You want to know how to become an entrepreneur in 2020? Well, in today's video, I'm going to give you my 5 tips for success to go on your way to becoming an entrepreneur right now. Let's do this. So let's go. Hey, what is up everyone? If this is your first time here, well, my name is Zachary Ward. I started Project Passion Productions back in April of 2019. I am here to help your small business grow, and that is all that you're going to see throughout this. And I want to help you today, if you are on the fence, how to become an entrepreneur in 2020. And the first way we're going to do that is by defining entrepreneur. So I looked it up over on my phone over here, and I'm going to read it for you. So here we go. A person who organizes and operates a business or businesses, taking on greater than normal financial risks in order to do so. So, boom, you have it right there. There's the definition, but I want to get into a little bit more depth of this and some of the I always say things wrong. The misconceptions, and also then my five tips for success to become an entrepreneur in 2020. So let's jump into first, those misconceptions. Alright, so I have my 3 misconceptions for you. And the first one is these are all, by the way, what people I've heard kind of saying, what their thoughts are about entrepreneurs, and kind of a little bit into influencers as well. And the first one is, people just have this misconception that and this is actually from people who think this is what you should do if you're going to become one, and that's what it is. And it is, oh, I just travel the world and have fun all the time, and that's how I make my living. That's not exactly how it is. Now, if you go on YouTube, you see all these people who travel the world and that's how they make their living, which I guess is good for them. But what I'm talking about entrepreneur is someone who actually is taking these, well, not that that's not a big risk, but the big risk when it's coming to starting your own business, not just giving up your job and saying, I'm gonna go travel the world as my living. What I'm saying is that is a big misconception of what actual entrepreneurs are. That's more of the influencer side of things, which that is a whole nother topic in of itself. The second misconception is that it is being used as our bailout. Now, what do I mean by that? I think a lot of people say, well, you're just becoming an entrepreneur or maybe an influencer. You might be mixing those things up, which probably be a good idea if you figured out which one you're thinking of here. But a lot of people will say, well, you're just using it as your bailout. You didn't want to go to college or something, so you're just going to be an entrepreneur. You're just saying you're an entrepreneur, and so you're like, I'm good. But that's a misconception because it's not technically true for the real entrepreneurs in life. So that's the second one. Now let's jump into the third one. And the third one is, it will be easy. And this is probably my favorite because I think a lot of people just in general think, oh, well, because you didn't go to college or because you didn't do this or that, it's gonna be easy. It's easy to be an entrepreneur. And that is completely wrong, and the biggest misconception I think of all 3 of these, because guess what? Most entrepreneurs give everything they have to what they're going for, and that's why it's so challenging for them. And if you don't understand that, then maybe you should just take a look at some of the entrepreneurs in life, how much they've invested. Now, I will say I think there's a healthy balance to work and life, even though work is part of life. Whatever. Anyways, so you have to find that balance, of course. But so many people think, oh, well, it's just so easy. Like a lot of people I know around me probably think, well, what I'm doing is easy, like I'm not really doing much or whatever, and so it must be easy. That is not true. In fact, most days I'm spending a lot of time trying to study things and trying to figure out things and how to work them out. And so if you were in that same boat, don't worry. Now I'm going to jump into my 5 tips for success on how to become an entrepreneur and how to succeed in 2020 with those. So let's do it. Alright, this is a quick pause moment. Make sure to go down below and hit that subscribe button for me. And if you're liking this video already, just because I already said the misconceptions, make sure to go like this video and don't forget to leave a comment down below as well. So let's jump back into the 5 tips. Alright, so who is ready for the 5 tips? Well, I am, and I hope you are too. So let's jump into the first one, and this is one that I think is pretty obvious, and I say in pretty much every video that I make, and it is, you have to I about said something funny. Surprise, you have to start. Yes, if you don't just start and go for it, then guess what? You're never actually going to become an entrepreneur in 2020 because you never started. So that's going to be a big issue. If you want to actually become an entrepreneur in 2020, you have to start. And so yes, that might be easier said than done, but what I'm telling you right now is that the next 4 are going to help you actually do that as well. So stay tuned for those ones, and I'll dive more into those. That one's just a really simple and generic basic one, but also probably the hardest one to do because you have to just start. So let's jump into number 2 now. All right, so number 2, and I'm gonna have to read it because it's kind of a little bit longer, is you have to be willing to take risks, fail, fight for it, and to probably get little sleep. And so, what do I mean by that? You have to be willing to take, first off, let's start with risk. If you're not willing to take risks to become an entrepreneur, like starting, or maybe you're not willing to take that risk of doing a particular job or something, whatever it is, if you're not willing to take risks to become an entrepreneur, then you're never going to become an entrepreneur. And also, if you're not willing to fail to become an entrepreneur, then you're never going to become an entrepreneur. You get kind of where I'm going here. So with failing, that's kind of a hard one because no one really just is like, man, I really love failing. That's just dumb. No one actually says that. And so what I'm trying to say is we have to find that comfortable moment where we're like, okay, it's okay if I fail. Like, you're going to fail. Like, if no one's ever told you that, then guess what? If you want to become an entrepreneur, you're probably going to fail, and you have to be willing to actually fail and understand, hey, when I fail, guess what you do with that? You take that and you grow from it. So if you want to actually become an entrepreneur, you have to be willing and understand that you are going to fail. And also, you have to be willing to fight for it. If you are not willing to dig deep and fight for what you want to do here, which is become an entrepreneur in whatever area it is, then you won't become one. You see kind of this, you keep seeing this trend of how I'm going with these, and it's true. Like, if you're not willing to fight for it at times and be like, you know what, I have to dig a little bit deeper or else I'm not going to happen. This isn't going to happen. Then if you're not willing to do that, it's never actually going to happen. 2021 is going to roll around. I'm going to be making the next one, and you're going to be like, I wish I would have listened in 2020. And you're like, and so you have to be willing to do those things. And also, again, the last one's kind of sarcastic in a sense, but it's true because most entrepreneurs probably get little to no sleep at times. And sometimes you have to stay up super late. Sometimes you have to wake up super early, all these different things. And you have to, that one kind of just ties in with being able to fight for it and take risks. And you're probably going to fail because you didn't get much sleep. And so understand that you're probably going to get a little bit of sleep. And that's kind of how it already works for me. I get enough sleep for me personally, but it's like, you have to be willing. If you're not willing, you're never going to become an entrepreneur in 2020. So that's the second one. Now let's jump into 3. All right, number 3, and that is you must create a business model and strategy, and you have to stick to it. Okay, now this is one of those things that kind of is not super challenging in general, and you probably kind of already have it put to place if you are thinking about this at all, and that's a business model and strategy. And so with any business that you start and becoming an entrepreneur, you have to have some sort of model and strategy to it. You can't just go into it blindly. And so when I started my own personally, I kind of wrote everything down, like what I wanted to stick to. So for me personally, the foundation of my business is founded upon Jesus and my relationship with him. And so that is where my foundation is. And I take that foundation and I have little shoot offs from that as well. And so whatever you have to write it. Just get a piece of paper right now. And while you're listening to this, start writing down your model. What is your business like? What is the point of it? Like, what do you want done with it? And write it down, jot it down. And it could be a paragraph, it could be a couple paragraphs. I mean, it doesn't have to be super long, but it has to be meaty enough. Like, it has to have some substance to it. And so you have to do that. And also with strategy, that's just kind of basic, like with whatever you're using, like what is your strategy behind this? Like, is your strategy going after, like, you have to niche down and stuff like that? I mean, you aren't trying to serve everybody. You have to find those particular group of people that you're going after. For me, it's personally like small businesses, because that's who I want to help. And so for you, it might be high schoolers. I don't know. Like, whatever it is, you have to find that, strategize it, dig into that, and then go full bore into it and never not stick to it. Like, if you want to help high schoolers with something and that's your business and what you're going to be an entrepreneur with, then you can't all of a sudden decide, oh, I want to go help elderly people now, like, and keep this business model. Like, it doesn't work. And so if you're going to do this, you have to stick to what you're going for. And that's kind of where I'm at personally. It's like, I don't really want to stray away from it, because when I stray away from it, then everything starts to get wish-washy with my business model and strategy, because people already know what it is. So make sure to do that and stick to it. So let's go to 4 now. All right, number 4, and this kind of depends on what you're doing and going after, but most of the time, this is very important. You have to create a website. Pretty simple. Websites aren't hard. You can honestly, I think, do a lot, some for free. There's people out there who do them for cheap. You know, I mean, this isn't sponsored by any means, but you see all those things when you get on YouTube, people like Squarespace, Wix, like all these different things, and you're like, boom, boom. I use my WordPress personally because my dad actually does websites, and so he helped me build that. But whatever you use, you have to create a website and then like actually make things make sense on that website. You don't want a trashy looking website, so it depends what you're doing with photography and videography. Like personally, I think anything kind of worked, and just making sure that I had the right things. You know, you want an about, you want, actually, you know what, if you want to know more about how to create a right website to grow your business, then go down in those comments and let me know so that I can make that instead of sitting here and rambling on about how to do that. Because this is all about helping you become an entrepreneur in 2020. So yes, you have to create a website. It's very important to your business and whatever you're going after, especially with most things. I mean, there's probably a few things that you don't necessarily need a website for, but even then, you probably still need a website. And so that's number 4. Now let's jump into the last one, number 5. All right, number 5, and this actually, personally to me, might be one of the more important ones, and there's some other videos that you can go watch of mine that kind of touch on this as well, and that is you have to create an online presence. Guys, it is 2020. This isn't the time to be sitting back in the paper age, or whatever you want to call it. There's so much social media outlets that if you aren't actually using, then your business probably isn't going to grow, and you can do a lot as an entrepreneur using online presence as the key to that. And a lot of people just use their online presence to make something of what they're doing. And so whatever it is, maybe it's Instagram, maybe it's Facebook, maybe it's LinkedIn, maybe it's YouTube, whatever it is, maybe it's all of those. Maybe you're like me and you kind of use all of those. And so whatever it is, you have to start doing that. So if you're becoming an entrepreneur, create an Instagram account. Create a Facebook account, do a LinkedIn, like make a YouTube channel if that's something that you can key in on. So personally with me, because I want to help small businesses, it's really easy. I can touch on topics like I am today and talk to you about these and help you become an entrepreneur in 2020. Or if you go watch some of my other videos, I talk about, like my last one, it was talking about how to grow your small business with using social media. And you can go watch that. It's up in a card up here. And also down below. You can go down below as well. And so you have to create an online presence, especially in 2020. You can't not do that. And especially when you're just starting, creating an online presence, people are like, I see this person, what they're doing. I want to be a part of this. And so you start growing that and you'll see some great things happen, I promise you, because an online presence is where we are. We're not in the paper age. Yes, I still think it's good to go out and talk to people and be word of mouth and make yourself kind of known to the world a little bit. But you have to have an online presence. So that's the 5 tips for success in order to become an entrepreneur, a successful entrepreneur in 2020. So let me touch into my next topic really quick. Not my next topic. My next thing about this video in just a moment. All right, so one of the last things I want to touch on before this video is over is that word success. It's a tricky word, and I want to tell you kind of how it applies to those things that I just said, the 5 tips and everything, because success kind of has to be defined by yourself. Like, you need to define what you think success is. Now, personally, for me, it's very different than a lot of people. For me, success is living my life glorifying the Lord and telling people about Him. That's period what it is, like exclamation point. That's where it's at. So I don't need to be making millions of dollars. I don't need to have all the things in the world like that. That is not what success is to me. Success is a very weird word to me. But in order to become a successful entrepreneur, you're going to have to actually define what you think success is and I guess key in on that. But again, that's to each their own, and I urge you to hopefully believe this because I think it's the truth and I want you to know because it's glorious and amazing. So that is where I'm gonna leave you today. Make sure, if you haven't already, to go hit that subscribe button for me, and also hit that bell if you wanna know when I come out with new videos. But if you just wanna know right now, Monday and Friday is when I come out with new videos, and sometimes I have to take a break. Like this past Monday, I took a break. But also, go leave comments below if you want to know any more video ideas I'd love to create for you so I can help your small business grow. So make sure you go do that right now, and I am signing off for now. See you later.